LoreWarrior Online. Mad Cat Mark II Redux. Overview. Though the decade of war during the 3050s was far more devastating to the inner sphere, the clans still felt the sting of battlefield losses, especially those like the Wolves and Jade Falcons that once were the strongest and most feared clans. The home clans were no better off, however, as the events of the past several years have since proven. Always on the lookout for a way to increase profits, the leaders of Clan Diamond Shark found one way at the beginning of this decade. Taking a cue from the success they were having with their Ha Otoko, they began development on yet another standard battle mech that they could sell to their fellow clans. By basing this new design on an existing battle mech, the Diamond Shark engineers cut their development time sharply, putting the Mad Cat Mark II into full scale in less than 15 months. Capabilities. Though bearing a remarkable outward resemblance to the Timberwolf, this battle mech is a new and powerful creation. Carrying 13 tons of ferrofibrous armour, the Mad Cat Mark II is an incredibly resilient design. More than that, it's also speedy and nimble for an assault-class battle mech. It tops out at a fast 86 kph, while its jump jets let it rocket over all of the roughest of terrain. Still, where it is a definite asset, the mech's agility is not the mech's strongest point. A pair of arm-mounted Gauss rifles supported by its torso-mounted LRM racks give the Mad Cat Mark II complete command over the battlefield. Though there are battle mechs that can deliver a more powerful barrage, few can keep up the steady volume of fire that this mech can put forth, at least without running the risk of redlining and reactor shutdown. While the Mad Cat Mark II can pick apart its enemies at range, it actually performs best within around 450 meters, still considered mid-range for most modern battlefield engagements. There, the mechs can pilot and make use of the paired extended range lasers in each torso, making short work of whoever is foolish enough to stray too close. Interestingly, the clan's technicians chose to equip this mech with weapons from its oldest Brian caches. And though the mech's performance isn't affected by this decision, the designers did have to make several adjustments to the chassis, such as additional venting ports above the arm-mounted Gauss rifles. Deployment. While the Mad Cat Mark II has now been in production for more than half a decade, very few clans are actually fielding this conventional battle mech. Clans Wolf and Jade Falcon, both obvious candidates for sale, have purchased none. Neither have Clan Ice Hellion or even Steel Viper, though all do field a few won through various trials. Only Nova Cat fields any significant number of these mechs. Surprisingly, quite a few have turned up in service within both the Draconis Combine and the former Federated Commonwealth states, particularly during the final battles on Proserpina. Although no one has yet been able to confirm it, it appears that the Diamond Sharks are now willing to sell unmodified clan equipment to the Inner Sphere, at least on a limited basis. This would explain why the clan chose the Mad Cat designation rather than Timberwolf. If this are true, it would signal a rather significant shift in attitudes within Diamond Shark. Certainly the fact that the clan chose to use supplies of outmoded weapons in arming this battle mech lend credence to this theory. So once again we return to the Mad Cat Mark II with a bit more of a ramble. This is a 90-ton design. Its chassis is the DSAM Endo 4. Its power plant is a Type 79 360 XL fusion engine, cruise speed of 43 kph and a max speed of 65 kph. Jump jets are Grand Thrust Mark V, giving it a jump capacity of 90 meters. Its armor is the Forging ZM15 Ferrofibrous, and its armament is a single EMRG Galaxy Series Gauss rifle, 2 Type 10 shortbow LRM-10 launchers, and 4 Series 2B extended range medium lasers. It's manufactured on manufacturing plant DSF-94, as a communication system, Mega Band System 21, as targeting and tracking is the D-Track Suite No. 4. Now, I'll point out a couple of inconsistencies here with the write-up, as that armament says it only has a single Gauss rifle, which of course we know that the mech actually has 2 Gauss rifles. The other thing is that the write-up says that its maximum speed is actually 86 kph and doesn't seem to mention that it has any mask equipped. And when you look at the stats, no, it doesn't have mask. But the maximum speed is listed as 65 kph. So which one is which? I believe it is actually the 86 kph. I believe this is quite a fast machine normally. I think that's supposed to be the idea. But anyway, stat-wise, this translates to a mech that can walk 4, run 6, jump 3. It has 14 double heatsinks for 28 dissipation overall, with 9 armor on the head, 38 on the CT with 13 on the rear, 26 on the side torsos with 8 on the rear, 27 on the arms, and 34 on the legs. It has a Gauss rifle on the right arm with 16 rounds of fire in the right torso, another Gauss rifle on the left arm with 16 rounds in the left torso, 2 ER mediums in the right torso with the LRM-10 and 12 rounds of ammunition, another 2 ER medium lasers in the left torso with another LRM-10 and a further 12 rounds of ammunition, with the jump jets being spread between the left, right, and centre torso. And that's Charlotte. Other than the slightly odd write-up, which obviously the record sheets would probably have a much more definitive list of the equipment and the such. I mentioned in the past that I found the Mad Cat Mark II to be a bit of a fugly mech, but I think that was mainly the MWO design. I don't really dislike the artwork for the original Mad Cat Mark II. It a bit like the Rakshasa. It definitely translates visually to this idea of a mech that was built to appeal to a specific audience or to ape it, but also look like it's slightly lower tech. Where the Timberwolf, by comparison to the Mad Cat Mark II, for instance, in its artwork, the Timberwolf looks advanced. It looks like a clan machine. And although this is a clan machine, this looks like a lower tech one. It's bigger, it looks bulkier, it's got more kind of angled sort of design for its pods, its arms, the cockpit. All these kind of things translate well visually to make it look like a machine that isn't sporting as much advanced equipment compared to the Timberwolf. And honestly, I think a Timberwolf versus a Mad Cat Mark II would probably be quite an interesting fight, as I think for the Timberwolf should be the baseline heavy should really be a testing point for all mechs within the clan sphere of military influence. I.e., when testing certain designs, that should be the one that it should be tested against to get a feel for how effective it is, because the Timberwolf is just such a great design overall, with a near perfect mix of speed, armor, and firepower. It would be a great testbed. A bit like how the Vedette tank in the Inner Sphere is basically the baseline test of how many Vedettes is this worth, kind of thing, or the equivalent of, in firepower and armor and the such, because it's just such a ubiquitous design within the Inner Sphere. The Timberwolf is almost the same thing for mechs for the clans. So the Mad Cat Mark II is definitely an interesting one. Obviously, the write-up is fun as well. The idea that Diamond Shark are on the sly sort of marketing and selling this thing to Inner Sphere clients, who will be more than happy to pick up some even low-rent clan equipment. It's new stuff, and it's nothing to sniff at. Very well equipped for its obviously for its size. And yeah, it's got decent speed for a 90-tonner. I mean, 6 hexes as a run is pretty damn good. Good heat dissipation. Its main range punch is virtually it generates virtually no heat. It's got great range, very, very high damage output potentially. Yeah, it's a pretty simple, straightforward design that works very well. Obviously, none of the other variants that came out after the fact are really mentioned, but as far as I remember, there are a couple of other Mad Cat Mark II models, I think. Maybe misremembering that. I know PGI had a habit of making up variants rather than just having just one of the mechs in the game. A bit of background on that. The reason why PGI sometimes would make mechs and then come up with like apocryphal designs, as far as sound is concerned, would be that their old skill system needed you to have so many of the mechs because you had to skill up so many variants within a certain chassis, and then you could unlock the elite skills and finally master a mech. But you had to have so many, and some battle mechs just never got more than maybe 2 variants at most. So some mechs like the Wolf Trap, for instance, was just kept off the table and was never considered. But when they got rid of that requirement and it just became the skill tree, they never seemed to revisit it. But they did keep adding extra variants because meta. So I might be misremembering whether the Mad Cat Mark II actually had any other variants. It probably did, because as far as I remember, it was quite popular. But yeah, I know I'm going to get flack for saying that the the Madcap Mark 2 in game for me is fugly. It's an opinion. It's not fact. It's the internet. I know. Like, if someone says something, it's like, oh my god, oh that's it. I can't listen to this gentleman anymore. He said something that differs from my opinion on things. Good God, how can he live with himself or herself? How could they do that? This person is dead to me now. I am leaving. You know, it's like that kind of thing. No. It's just for me, it's not great. But you know, I've said some mechs look fine to me, and other people have gone, "What the fuck are you talking about? Look at this thing." So yeah. But yeah, the Madcap Mark 2, an interesting one. Obviously, in games sort of perspective, you can come up with the idea that players might be running. You could run a scenario where you're playing some Ghost Bear warriors, second line or front line. And, you know, they encounter, obviously, Draconis forces, and the Combine forces are suddenly rocking up in these things, and it's a scenario of like, oh shit, what the hell are these? You know, brand new machines that the players have to contend with. The idea of maybe running a raid into Combine space and encountering some Nova Cats. One of those might be amongst their forces. Obviously, since the FedCom have also got them, you can utilize them in a few scenarios involving either the Lyran Alliance or the like Federated Suns, that kind of thing. So you got a few different options there, where it was smart by having the mech kind of spread out a bit so it could be used in other locations. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. We're at 11.5 minutes. The Madcap Mark 2, yes, it's a very effective mech, very good design. And sometimes that's just what you need. Simplicity is the key for some mechs, and that is definitely what this is. A very simple but effective design at 90 tons. It's not bad. But I'll leave it there. Have a good one all. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time. Bye bye. 12 minutes.